Hello everybody, my name is Joe Shelton and I'm a singer, songwriter, music producer, and recording artist from Indianapolis, Indiana. Over the last year, I've stepped out and performed music on over 200 stages. Along the way though, I met a lot of great people that I didn't expect to. They were inspiring artists and songwriters and musicians, and I want to share all of that inspiration with you. So that's what this show is about. Moonshine equals love, shine in love on the music. Moonshine and music starts now. All right, welcome to Moonshine and Music. Chris Wolf, it is a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
We have a lot of ground to cover today because we have to step all the way back into the past to the time of Chris Wolf's origination.
That goes way back. That's pretty far back.
Where were you born? Where did you grow up?
I'm right here in Indy. Grew up on the west side.
Yeah?
Yeah. My mom still lives in the house I was raised in.
Is that like the Speedway area or?
It's called Farley. It's 10th and 465.
Yeah.
On the west side, yeah.
So was 465 there at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, it was there.
You said it was way back, so I thought I'd dig in a little bit.
It is way back. I don't know, when did they put 465? I was a kid, so I didn't really pay attention.
I don't know. It's always been there as far as I know.
As far as I can remember.
What schools did you go to growing up?
Grade school, St. Chris and Speedway.
Yeah?
Yep. Recovering Catholic.
So high school was?
Ben Davis.
Ben Davis. So you're a Giant?
I was a Giant, yes.
Are you still a Giant, or is that just a rumor?
No, I live in Mooresville now.
Yeah? So what did your parents do growing up? Were they?
My dad was a fireman, Indianapolis Fire Department, and he was the president for the firefighters local here in Indy, local 416 for a while. My mom worked at the airport back when it was Weircook Airport. Right. And then raised us, and then went back to work at the Indianapolis Star, and as a secretary for the managing editor. And she retired there. Now.
Oh wow!
And she still lives on the west side in that house I grew up in.
And I've seen some of her artwork at Square Cat with the guitar.
Yeah, she's a great artist. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you get your artistic side from your mother, or?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. That's my dad always claimed he didn't know where I got it because he didn't have anything to give me. I'm handy too. I'm a carpenter, and he couldn't turn a screwdriver.
Oh, so what all do you build? Did that come along when you were an adult?
I'm retired now, but I was a commercial carpenter for 33 years. Built metal stud framing, drywall, acoustic ceilings.
Yeah, and from what I remember, you built your own house?
I did, yes, twice.
What's that like?
It's like a nightmare. I built it in 1984. I built a 3-bedroom ranch-style house, and it took a little over a year, and I said, I will never do this again. And then in 1997, I tore the roof off and made it a Cape Cod. And about 3 weeks in, I said, wait a minute, I wasn't going to do this anymore.
So those plans went awry.
They did. So I did it. In fact, we built it just enough to close it in, and then it sat unfinished upstairs for a long time. It was a dumb move. Now all my kids are moved out, and we got this giant house that I don't have any use for.
So you started playing music at what age?
I got my first guitar the day after my first wife and I got married. And she maintained that this is not the guy I married, because I didn't play music. That would have been 82.
1982?
Yeah, so I'd been 31.
So that's kind of late to start playing. Did you never played any other instruments, or?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
No, and my brother. My brother is the talented one, and he was like, he had to be 16 or 17, and I would go visit my mom, and he played guitar, and I said, show me something. He'd show me how to play Walk This Way or Sunshine of Your Love, and got me hooked.
I see.
Yeah.
So have you always been a big music buff? Did that happen before you learned to play?
Yeah. All through high school, I was a rock guy,
Yeah, I mean, we were talking a little bit before we started filming that you REO Speedwagon and...
REO was a big one. Alice Cooper was like my favorite.
Alice Cooper?
Yeah. Then
that's like a great stage show. There.
Oh, it is. And he's still killing it out there.
Yeah.
We saw him 3 times in the last 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he played Mural Theater twice, and then once he was at Deer Creek with Deep Purple and Edgar Winter. That was a show.
That sounds like a show. I mean, the thing about him that I always just found fascinating was how great the stage show was.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have, nothing against the music at all. It's just the stage show is like, one of the most legendary of.
Yeah, it is.
Of any.
And he has the best musicians behind him. I mean, have you seen his act lately?
No.
He's got Nita Strauss.
I mean, I saw them. I think it was probably 87, 88, something like that when I saw them, and it was just spectacular.
He's 74 years old, I think.
Yeah.
Killing it. So jumping up on the monitors with his sword and
and all that.
Snake and everything, yeah.
I saw Bob Seger last year, and I had seen him like almost exactly 30 years earlier at Market Square Arena.
Oh, wow.
And then I saw, it was like to the date, and I've only seen him twice. And he was 72, and it was just amazing to me that he was 70. And all of his band members, except for the lead guitar player, were old guys. The old guys that had been there forever. Of course, the lead guitar player passed away, and they got this new guy who was just incredible. And but the thing I was thinking about that was, can you imagine going to audition for that? You're like going to audition to be in Bob Seger's Silver Bullet Band to tour. I mean,
there's a documentary out on Netflix called Hired Guns, and it's about all the side musicians that work for people like Alice Cooper and I mean, I think Hall & Oates and it's all these different acts that these people they hire to be the traveling musicians, and it's a really interesting look at that life.
That's interesting. I might have to check that out, because I always love those little documentaries. Like I recently was watching Ed Sheeran's Songwriter just came out.
I've not seen it.
And Ed's one of the new pop stars, but he had this guy following him around with a camera as they were writing all the songs for his newest album, and it was just fascinating to watch. I mean, they were like at one point on a cruise ship because the guy who was producing the record was afraid to fly, and they needed to go to England. So like they get on a ship to go across the ocean, and like they've got this suite rigged out with Pro Tools and the whole nine, and they're in there writing songs and working them the whole way across.
Nice.
It was just and there were several other things that they did as they were writing, but it was just a really interesting documentary. I love those things. So, but when you were when did you start writing? Was it shortly after you learned playing, or?
No, I played for a couple years before I started writing. My first song I ever wrote I always tell the story. I was watching SCTV. Do you remember that?
Yeah, with John Candy.
Yeah, with John Candy, and he came out with a bolo tie and a western shirt and a cowboy hat and a guitar, and he said, if you want to write a hit country song, you got to write about critters, because folks like songs about critters. And that was the best songwriting advice I'd gotten up to that point. So I wrote my first song. I call it the Critter Song.
I don't think I've heard the Critter song.
Really?
I need to hear that one. I'll have to go find. Is it on a record?
Yeah, it's on I think it's on both my records. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, Better Be Scared and The Wolf.
God, why haven't I? That one didn't. I guess that one didn't click with me, or I didn't remember it.
John Boyer and Junkbox Mike play on it on the Wolfman.
On the Wolfman, I guess because your songs are so unique, and I think that's the thing about you that people, really remember. I mean, it's not just that they're comedy songs or whatever; they're just really unique angles on the comedy.
Thanks. What I lack in talent, I make up for with shtick.
I think the first time that I saw you play, you played Beater with a Heater, and I was just sold. I mean, that just really struck home with me. When I was
based on a true story.
Well, I had that same kind of story when I was just had kids. I was dead broke, and I had bought this old station wagon for like $500 or something, and the first day that I had it, it was wintertime, and I got to where I was going, and I turned off the key, and the heater kept running. So that drove me right at when that song was like, yes, I used to have a Beater with a heater, but the damn heater couldn't be turned off even when you turned off the car.
Wow.
So so I think that's a unique thing. When you're sitting out to write them, is it just that you have a thought? Because I mean, when I write songs, it's generally about something that's really affecting me in a feeling way. And your songs are, they're fun, a lot of them. But is it something that comes up that you feel like it's funny?
It's not like I set out to write them funny. They just come out funny. I don't say, oh, let's write a funny song about this. I just start writing it, and it becomes a funny song. Well, sometimes I'll have a funny premise, but Beater with the Heater was just about my son's car that he had me help him find a car on Craigslist, and it was a Beater, and he had to sell it like less than a year later because it was costing him too much money. But I got a song out of it.
Yeah, the song's worth whatever the cost was. So, I mean, because a lot of people talk about this, and I have to, people will shoot me if I don't ask questions about poop on the moon. I mean,
now see, that was
where do we begin with that kind of with that tune?
I just read an article that said and I think the headline is there's poop on the moon, and I was like, awesome. I wouldn't have thought of it if I didn't read it.
So it had to actually happen for you to, yeah.
That one did, yeah. Yeah, I didn't come up with that one on my own.
How about Spotless, the invisible dog?
That came from a little joke that I kind of was toying with. That I said I can't. It came from another joke where how people get tattoos of like barbed wire around their arm.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm not that aggressive. I got invisible fence. And that turned into, I can't afford invisible fence, so I'll get an invisible dog. And years later, I heard Stephen Wright has a joke using an invisible dog. And I'm like, I hope people don't think I stole that from him.
Well, maybe he stole it from you. Maybe he was at a Chris Wolf show.
I don't think so.
You never know who's back in the back of the crowd.
He came out with his stand-up act way before that song ever was thought of. But yeah, there's a couple other invisible dogs out there too. One called some woman sings it. I forget. Flea's my invisible dog or something.
So do like people bring things to you like that when
Well, yeah, you know how it is. People go, oh, they'll see something goofy and Chris, you should write a song about the diaper on the sidewalk. Whatever, you know. I hear a song. It doesn't work like that, though. I mean, I don't ever sit down to write a song with nothing in my head. You know, I know a lot of people just write, and I don't really do that. I mean, something has to spark me, and then go, oh, okay, then I'll start it. You know, I don't go, okay, I'm gonna write a song today, and then go, what can I write about? Poop on the moon. No, I don't do that. You know, it has to hit me.
I see. Curiosities. From one artist to another, when you play shows and things, I mean, I know that you're connecting with the audience a lot because of, people come up, I've seen them after you've played, they just go, oh, that was awesome. I love to hear the story. That story made me laugh.
Yeah.
Does that weigh into where you go with the next song? Do you feel like
a lot of times, yeah, and I've become known as the guy with the funny songs, and that can work against you in several ways. One is, I have serious songs, but they don't stick with people. They hear the funny songs and then they associate that with me. But the other thing is when you do like novelty songs, it's like telling a joke. You can only tell a joke so many times. You get the punchline. After the third time, you're like, yeah, I've heard that before. So the funny songs are like, oh yeah, about the invisible dog. Yeah, I've heard that one. You can listen to, 157 Riverside Avenue over and over, but
400 million times.
But,
right.
But you can't. I mean, it loses some, the surprise factor of a comedy song, the twist. And to people that have never heard it, they're like, the twist gets them. But then after a while, the twist is gone because they know the punchline or they know the twist. And
yeah,
what I'm saying?
So it's sort of like you get like a fast flash of it, and then it kind of whittles away.
Right.
Whereas like something like as you said, one of the really all-time popular songs, like I don't know, Against the Wind or
Stairway to Heaven or
Stairway
whatever.
to Heaven, right? That like it's like it burns on and on and on because it doesn't have that like flash effect at all as part of the way that it strikes you.
Exactly. Right. So there's that, and then. Like I said, I do have serious songs, but nobody takes it seriously. They're all waiting for a punchline,
Wait, well, when's he gonna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the twist?
I heard you do a serious song once at Square Cat at the open mic, and I mean it was a good song. I didn't, but it doesn't. It didn't stick with me the same way that Spotless, the invisible dog. I mean, I actually, you say it only 2 or 3 times, but I think I've heard you play that like 5 times, and I still giggle every time.
Yeah.
At certain parts of it. Well, the thing that makes a really good comedy thing to me, whether it's a song or a movie or whatever, is when there's so many parts to it that like on first glance you're laughing at something and you completely miss like the next 3 things, and then like the second time through you're not laughing at that first one because you already heard it, and then the next one happens, you're like, I didn't know that was in there. That's hilarious. Like the next thing happens, and that's the way I feel with like a couple of your songs. Like that happens, and that's when I think that you really have a good one. Is when like I can listen to it 5 times and find something new in it each time because it's it's like the things that you didn't hear because you were laughing or you were like like you're so hung up on it. I mean, I know I get that way about anything comical. Like I'll get hung up on the one thing and not even hear like the next 5 minutes of the movie because I was just laughing.
I had a lot of influence when I was younger. I told you like Alice Cooper, and he gave me like the dark approach to life. But then I was also listening to like the Smothers Brothers and Jim Stafford and Ray Stevens and
I love Ray Stevens,
the comedy guys, and so that kind of gave me and later on like Arlo Guthrie and Todd Snyder and even John Prine. I mean, he's got some hilarious stuff.
Well, I mean, he was like co-writer on the Never Even Called My Name, right, with Steve Goodman.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah, he was like an uncredited co-writer.
I didn't
that
know
song.
that.
And that was like when I found that out, it made a lot of sense to me, because there's certain lines in there that are just so John Prine, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. It's just an interesting.
Jerry Reed was another one.
Oh, I love Jerry. I mean, Jerry, you just stepped in. You know, I love Jerry Reed as much as I love REO Speedwagon. So,
Yeah.
I mean, my, you know, he was in Smokey and the Bandit.
Son!
He was Cletus Snow, the Snowman, and
Yeah.
my.
He could pick, man. He could.
Oh my God, he can play. And the soundtrack to Smokey and the Bandit, he just pretty much nails it, like across the board.
You know, like Chet Atkins recorded a bunch of his songs. I mean.
Oh yeah. Well, I love the video on YouTube of Chet and Jerry doing the claw together. Have you seen that?
The breakdown.
Yeah.
Hangs his hat on Chet's.
Yeah. It's just so good to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I think about Jerry Reed is he was kind of a precursor to rap music in some ways too. Like some of his songs, like Amos Moses, it's almost like a hip hop song, but played with banjos. You know, and, you know, because it's like so fast and rapid, and like there's just one thing after another, like kind of like a good hip hop song. And then, you know, then his amazing amount of picking ability just with any kind of guitar style. And
yeah, he's probably my favorite finger picker. Well, Leo Kottke's right up there too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Leo's the one that got me to throw away my flat pick and start using my right hand, using my fingers. I saw Leo Kottke. I was playing John Prine and Neil Young stuff, you know. And then I heard Leo Kottke, and I was like, that's what I want to do. So I couldn't, you can't just go from John Prine to Leo Kottke. So I got a book at the library called The Art of Ragtime Guitar. It's a great book, and it's got like 6 ragtime finger picking songs, and that's what got me started.
I saw you talking about ragtime online the other day.
Yeah.
And so that was what the basis of that was. You had this book, and they kind of.
Well, I was trying to become Leo Kottke, but I didn't know where to start, and so I found that book, and I started learning that, and then that led me back to the ragtime players of the 20s and 30s, like Reverend Gary Davis and Blind Blake and Blind Lemon Jefferson and all those guys. And then that pushed me up to Chet Atkins and Jerry Reed, which came from Merle Travis and Mose Rager and all the Kentucky finger pickers. They were borrowing stuff from those blues guys.
What was the guy that was on Hee Haw? The two guys.
Roy Clark,
and what's the other guy's name? Played the red, white, and blue guitar.
Buck Owens.
Yeah, because those guys at every show would have this little thing at the end of it.
Yeah,
know?
but
and they weren't really finger pickers per se, but like they were in that same vein of music.
Right.
You know, that same era, and they came through it and kind of like, you know, were influencing everybody.
Yeah.
You know, the same way that Adkins and Reed were.
Yeah.
It's interesting how like a lot of that leaked into like the really popular rock music as well, because you know, some of the bands, the southern rock bands, to me, like just like totally are like, you know, when you hear Skynyrd play, if you don't know that those guys used to listen to stuff like Jerry Reed before that, and Chet Atkins and Bill Monroe,
right?
I mean, it's obvious, like way obvious, especially if you start playing some of their songs and underneath it, it's, you know, the same riffs. They just, you know, put some fancy electric guitars on top of it. So as you started getting out and playing stuff, what do you feel like, you know, how long have you been playing like live shows and things around, I mean, just since the mid 80s or?
Yeah, early 80s is, I mean, yeah, but I quit for a long time too.
Yeah.
But I started out in the 80s. And then I.
Were you in groups back then, or were you? No. I know that right now you have CPR, which is not a band, but it's kind of a group.
We're traveling singers, songwriters, and storytellers in the round.
Right.
But it's easier to say we ain't a band.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. You kind of play as a group, but you don't really play as a band.
Right.
Have you ever been like in a band together with people?
Just the Ware Boys.
Yeah. Oh, from the doing Random Band Challenge,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's the only time I was in a band, and it was a blast. I had a great time with those guys.
Do you think about doing another band?
I don't know. I mean, if something comes along, but no, I'm not actively looking for it or
any of that.
Yeah, no, I'm just a porch picker, you know.
So around town right now in Indy here, you're kind of the purveyor of the most popular open mic series, which is the Square Cap Vinyl Store in Fountain Square.
Yeah.
And how did that come about? What and how did you parlay it into what it is, which is kind of amazing?
I don't take any credit for it. Mike Angel came up with the whole idea. He said, "Here's how I want to do it, and do you want to host it?" I said, "Sure." And I mean, you see what I do. I go up there, I read names, introduce people.
Well, and you tell some jokes.
And I tell some jokes, yeah.
We have to have a joke. What do you got on you today? What's a lethal Chris Wolf joke?
My God!
Before we get you to play.
The latest one I've heard. It's a little bit long. My wife's over there shaking her head. Don't tell it.
I asked for it. How long is it?
I'll make it quick. Guy has headaches for years and years. He goes to the doctor. Doctor checks him out, runs a bunch of tests, comes back and he says to the man, "The only thing I can find is that it seems your testicles are pressing too hard against the base of your spine, and it's causing these massive headaches. And the only way I can see to fix it is we got to take them off." And he said, "I can't live with this pain any longer." He goes through the surgery. He gets out of the hospital and he's walking down the street contemplating his new role in life without his boys. And he's walking by a men's shop and he thinks, a new suit, that'll do the trick. So he goes in and he tells the guy, "I want a new suit." And the tailor says, "Okay, you look like a 42 long." He goes, "How'd you know that?" He goes, "I've been doing this 50 years. It's what I do." He brings out a 42 long. Guy puts it on, it fits perfect. And he thinks, you know what, a new shirt would look good with this new suit. So he tells the tailor, "I think I'd like a shirt." And he goes, "Okay, 38, 16 and a half neck." The guy goes, "Exactly." So he puts on the new shirt, puts his jacket back on, he's looking at himself in the mirror, and he goes, "I probably ought to get some new underwear too." And so the tailor goes, 36. And he goes, "You got me there. I've been 32 since I was 18 years old." Taylor says, "There's no way you wear 32 underwear. If you did, it would press your testicles so hard against the base of your spine, you'd have one hell of a headache right now."
There we go. Definitely vintage Chris Wolf. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm looking forward to you playing some songs for us today. Are you hyped?
Sure.
All right. Well, let's do it. We'll be right back. We're going to have some music from Chris Wolf on Moonshine Music. Thanks for being here.
Sure, man. Okay, this is, we talked about this one. This is the first song I ever wrote. It's called The Critter Song. Last night while I was in the woods, that moonshine was tasting good, and I accidentally spilled some on the ground. Just then a squirrel ran down a tree. He took a taste, he looked at me, and I told him as his head spun around, "That's some mighty powerful stuff you're drinking. Bound to change your way of thinking. Mighty powerful jug of Mountain Dew. That's some mighty powerful stuff you're drinking. Raise your hair, make your eyes start blinking. Strongest stuff I've had since '62. At least that's what I think now. How about you?" Well, that little squirrel did figure eights, and I sat back and had a taste. And as I drank, my ears blew out some steam. Then finally he slowed his pace. A smile grew upon his face, and he winked at me as he began to sing. That's some mighty powerful stuff you're drinking, bound to change your way of thinking. Mighty powerful jug of Mountain Dew. That's some mighty powerful stuff you're drinking. Raise your hair, make your eyes start blinking. Strongest stuff I've had since '62. At least that's what I think about you. Now the jaw-dropping guitar solo. Stevie Ray who? Well, that squirrel and me sat on our butts. We told some jokes and ate some nuts and passed that jug of mash till it was gone. By then we thought we had enough, 'cause standing up was mighty tough. But before we left we had to sing this song. That's some mighty powerful stuff you're drinking, bound to change your way of thinking. Mighty powerful jug of Mountain Dew. That's some mighty powerful stuff you're drinking. Raise your hair, make your eyes start blinking. Strongest stuff I've had since '62. At least that's what we think. How about you? Thanks. So, I'll tell a little story about where this one came from. My wife was a kindergarten teacher for 23 years, and she's been a nanny for the last 9 years. And she said, "You write all these songs, but you've never written a children's song. Why not?" And I had no answer for her. So I sat down and I did write a children's song, but I'm not sure it's what she was looking for. Gather round me, children, got a tale to tell. Gather round me closely so you can hear me well. You only get one childhood, enjoy it while you can, and try to stay away from the man in the windowless van. Now he might have a puppy or a great big candy bar. He might offer you a ride so you don't have to walk too far. He might say he's a dear old friend of your mom and dad. You might think he's a real nice guy, but he's not. He's bad. He's the bad, bad man in the windowless van, hanging out at the park. Better beware if you can, especially after dark. You can be nice to everyone you meet, I really think you should. But the bad, bad man in the windowless van, he's up to no good. Sing along with the bouncing ball, boys and girls. Now, I'm not trying to scare you, not trying to cause alarm, but I'm just looking out for you, trying to keep you away from harm. Better safe than sorry, 'cause you just never know. But it looks like everything's okay. Let's get in my van and go. There's a bad, bad man in a windowless van, hanging out at the park. Better beware if you can, especially after dark. You can be nice to everyone you meet, I really think you should. But the bad, bad man in the windowless van, he's up to no good. The bad, bad man in the windowless van, he's up to no good. And that was my little children's song. It's not what she was looking for. I should do a serious song. me?
The length of these you can do 4 weeks.
Okay, well, this is the longer one here. This is an idea that I told my wife about. I've got this idea for a song, and just kind of just a short outline of it, and then I just put it in my back pocket and forgot about it for a few years, 2 or 3 years probably, and then one day it just all, I don't know how it happened, but it all just wrote itself in one afternoon. People ask me if it's a true story, and I told that it probably is. Sometimes she loses track. She can't remember when she started working at Harry's Diner. Seems she's always been, and when she adds it up, that's when it all sinks in. See, she was 17, and he was 23. He said, "Don't you worry, baby, you can count on me. Well, I'll do the right thing. We'll be a family." But he couldn't hold down a job. He's out drinking every night, and when he did come home, he'd always start a fight. So when he left for good, she thought everything would be alright. And that diner job came in handy, 'cause jobs were hard to find. And if you're a single mom, they know you're the working kind. She raised her boy in that corner booth, and Harry, he didn't mind. And sometimes life, it ain't so easy. You do the best that you can do. You might be planning for the future, but the future might have other plans for you. She's a pretty gal with a worried look, not as old as she appears. And he's a good kid, smart enough to know she's hiding all her fears. So he hugs her and he holds on tight, try to keep away all her tears. And he works around the diner trying to help his mama out. When he got old enough, he got a paper route. And when he turned 17, he said, "Hey, Ma, got it all figured out." He came up with this idea after the 4th of July parade. He said, "I'm gonna join the service, Ma, and I'll learn a trade. And when I get out, I'll get a good job, and then we'll have it made." His squad was in that chopper, got hit by an RPG. Now his picture hangs in that corner booth for everyone to see. She clocks in for another double. She's got nowhere else to be. And sometimes life, it ain't so easy. You do the best that you can do. You might be planning for the future. Yeah, the future might have other plans for you. Sometimes she loses track. She can't remember when she started working at Harry's Diner.
seems she's always been. And when she adds it up, that's when it all sinks in. Thanks.
We got time for one more if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, just whatever one you want.
Well, this is a series about songwriters, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so let's play I got asked to play the 100th birthday of Woody Guthrie celebration in Irvington a few years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. He would have turned 100. And so I thought, well, I better learn a Woody Guthrie song, but I don't translate Woody Guthrie very well. So I just thought, well, I'll write my own. And I always liked the talking blues style, you know, that Woody and others made popular. So I thought, well, I'll write a talking blues. And for the Woody Guthrie Festival, I think Woody would appreciate somebody writing one for him, you know. So I did, and this is what came out. Oop. I forget how it starts. There it goes. I just wanna play guitar, you know I'm never gonna be a star. Singing my songs, paying my dues, got them old talking singer-songwriters blues. When I first set out to learn guitar, I never did figure I'd get too far. Just want to learn, play a few songs, and maybe my friends might sing along. Round campfire, Saturday night, with some cold beer or wine or whatever. Well, my brother taught me my first chord. I played that thing till my fingers were sore. I played so much that I thought I'd cry. He said it was a D, but he didn't say why. This here's a D. I still don't know why. Just kept playing it over and over and over and over and over. Till he showed me a G. Well, my collection of chords grew to 3, and I thought it sounded like a symphony, and I thought maybe I could be the next king, till it came time to play and sing. Not so easy, kind of difficult, a little awkward, but I'll get the hang of it eventually. I just wanna play guitar, no, I'm never gonna be a star. Sing my songs, paying my dues, got them old talking singer-songwriters blues. Well, I set out to learn all the hits by Bob Dylan, Jimmy Buffett, John Denver, Mellencamp, Neil Young, Supertramp, Woody Guthrie, Johnny Cash, Leonard Well, one day I got me out a pen and a pad. I wrote down some of them thoughts I had, moved them around so they'd all rhyme, made it work most of the days that I was trying to rhyme that stuff. Not all the time. Could I make it rhyme? But that's just fine. It's called art. Well, pretty soon I had a whole stack of songs, and some you could even sing along or clap your hands, tap your feet, but buy my records I can eat ramen noodles or SpaghettiOs or a ketchup sandwich. I just wanna play guitar, you know I'm never gonna be a star. Singing my songs, paying my dues, got them old talking singer-songwriters blues. Well, I could be a local star. So I went down to the local bar, asked the owner if I could play, and he said that'd be okay. But bring a PA. Oh, and by the way, can't afford to pay, but it'd be great exposure. I told him I got an uncle got arrested for exposure. Well, I load in the PA microphone stand. Glad it's just me and not a whole damn band. He said to play way over there, and he said, by the way, did you bring your own chair? He said it gets crowded. And the chairs, well, they're for paying customers. And then he charged me for my beer. But I was playing my songs, I was so proud. Somebody said it was way too loud. He said, turn it down so the game can be heard. And then some idiot yells out, "Free bird!" Ha! Free bird. That one never gets old. There's your free bird. I just wanna play guitar. You know I'm never gonna be a star. Sing my songs, paying my dues. Got the old talk singer-songwriters blues. Thanks for having me, Joe.
Moonshine and Music is a presentation of Notlehs Entertainment. Copyright 2018, all rights reserved. Our producer for today's show was Joe Shelton. Our cameraman, grip, and stunt double was Brent Lee Smith. And also helping out on cameras, setup, and all sorts of other things, Bailey Shelton. Thank you for joining us, and join us next week on Sunday for Moonshine and Music.